Hello friends, it's Kathy Clement with Kathy by Design. Welcome to Make and Take Tuesday. This is a weekly series that I do on my blog where I share a project made with a new paper collection, tool, technique, product, design, and we make something beautiful together. All this year in 2023, we've been working on a monthly folio made with Graphic 45's Flower Market collection. And we are on August. We have come up to August. So I just want to go through the supplies that we're going to use to make this folio. We have our 8x8 cut apart and our 8x8 floral piece. These are both in the same, you get two of each pattern in your paper packs. And then I have the 12x12 with the 12x12 floral. And then because this is a somewhat limited collection, I always go searching in my stash for complementary collections that will work with it. I found a little bit of the pink patterns and solids that I have left. And then I went searching and I found this Authentique Dame, which is a really good match if you look. It even actually has, if you look carefully, this is the same text. It's just the reverse print. So this is the pink on cream, and this is cream on pink. So it's the same pattern. And the colors work together very, very well. That's what I look for when I'm looking for patterns to go with. So then it also has this wonderful plaid, which with all these florals, I feel like you really need some geometrics to break things up. Now the back side of this is a really hot Pepto-Bismol pink, which we probably will not use, but the plaid is very nice. And then I also pulled from Dame this text that I already showed you. And then the reverse side is this all over print, which actually is a really nice complement. And again, a break from all these heavy florals. I have a couple of 4x6 postcards. Probably won't use the blue, but this one works with the bird, works really well. Then there's this floral, which is amazingly similar to the floral used in the collection. Again, we have a lot of floral already, so I'm going to use this gold, deep gold netting. It picks up really well on the shades of yellow that are in this paper collection. So I've got a couple of pieces of that. Then I've got a wonderful paisley, which is a really good complement. The back side of this is 3x4s and 4x6s. And here's some more of that. This wonderful pink parrot is hilarious. I've got stickers left, which we'll probably use. And to go with this was a challenge. It took me quite a few minutes to figure this out. Because everything has to work together. And I went with this beautiful color, this green called Fern from Spellbinders. And then I have this pale, 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 pale pink that is from Michael's Recollections. I think it's their rose petal, 110 pound. And this is a 100 pound cardstock. This is 110 pound. And so that's what we're going to use for all our making our folio and the matting. So let me put this aside. We'll go ahead. We'll get started making the folio base. And if you're new to this, you can go back into my YouTube, look for either my Graphic 45 channel or my Make and Take Tuesday channel, even my folio channel. You'll find some things there. So I have two sheets of this 8.5 by 11 fern, and I've put 1/4 inch score tape on one end. And those of you who watch all the time, you know what we're doing. I'm just always go over this in case there's somebody new. I'm just overlapping this other piece of 8.5 by 11 on top of my score tape. And I'm using the inside line of that score tape as a guide to help me stay nice and straight. So then just burnish this down. Okay. Now we need to bring in our score tool, and we're going to put this big long piece of paper on here, and we are going to score this starting on the left at 4, and then 4 3/8. So I have to go in between those two because I don't have 1/8 inch. All right. Then we're going to fold this on that second score line, and we're going to score at 8 1/2. And then we're going to go over again 3/8 of an inch. And score. Now I'm going to turn this over and score these lines a second time going the other way because you always want to fold into your scored line. Otherwise, in other words, the bumpy side. There's always a bumpy side and a smooth side. So this folds up. This becomes an interior pocket. And this folds down. And this becomes the cover. So we have an 8 1/2 by 8 1/2 square folio. So now that we've made our top and bottom of our folio, we need to work on our inside flaps. And these are little 8 1/2 by 8 1/4 panels of this same green cardstock. And you score each of them at 1/2 inch, and then you score at 7/8 inches. And fold along this 1/2 inch line, place 1/4 inch score tape, line this up with the side of your folio so that you're even at the top and the bottom, and you're butted right up against it. You want to be right up against it and completely straight. And I'm sticking on this craft mat, so it's making it hard for me to do that. But I will persist. Then take off your score tape. Make sure you're straight, and then just flip this flap over and connect it. So now what you have is a flap on each side of your folio. All right? And then this is the pocket that goes inside. This flap goes here. This flap goes here. This flap comes down, and you've got this beautiful little folio. My friends, so now that we've got our folio base built, we're going to go ahead and start working on the cover. And I brought in just a little accent piece of this deeper sort of coral rose. This is 8 1/4 by 8 1/4, and then this pale petal pink is 8 1/8 by 8 1/8. So go to your 8 by 8 pad and cut out a 4 by 8 inch strip of your designer paper, and then cut that into 4 1 inch by 8 inch strips. And we're going to do a little mitered corner action here. And the easy way to make a mitered corner is to take these two strips that are absolutely the same size, right? And you're going to lay one over the other so that they are perpendicular. That means they're square. One's not hanging out on the edge. And you're just going to cut from this inside corner to this outside corner. And you can see that when you do this, these meet up, and it makes a beautiful, beautiful mitered corner. A lot of people are afraid of making a mitered corner, but it's actually really simple with this method. And I didn't learn this from anyone. I just trial and error figured it out. So once again, I'm just lining up. Okay, so I'm going to start up here at the top. I think this actually goes like this. Okay. And I'm just, because I'm going to stitch this up on my sewing machine, I'm just going to put a little bead of glue right down the center. And then I'm going to line this up so that it's even on each end. And straight. So then we have this pretty frame. And now I'm going to go stitch around this outside edge with my sewing machine. I've taken the image from my 12 by 12 and I've matted it on a little piece of this pale pink, and I've taken the August, and I'm just going to go stitch these up. I think I might add, yeah, I'm going to add this pop-up bright pink behind this piece as well. All right, let's go ahead and put this cover together. You can see I stitched around the edges of our mitered corners, and then I just always take a tiny little bit of glue, and on the diagonal I just put it in there. These are border pieces cut from the 8 by 8 and 12 by 12. Here's our small calendar that I backed with the pale pink and the more bubblegum pink. And now we're just going to glue this down. And I want to center this with the top and the bottom and the left and the right hand side so that everything fits the way it should. And then down on the bottom, I've got our chipboard butterfly. I've added a little gem to the center, and I put foam tape on the bottom part of the wings down here so that it will stay in place really well. I forgot to put my adhesive on the wings. There we go. All right. Then over here, this is the imagination from the 8 by 8, and I put foam tape on the right hand side, the left hand side, so that it's level. I keep forgetting to put my adhesive on here, people. All right, there we go. And then below that, I've got the number 8. And I just use a circle die to cut these out. And this is going to go right in this corner. And then over here, spanning across like this, is this word peace. This one's from the 12 by 12. And I didn't mat this, I just left a little bit of the border around it, and I did put foam tape down on the right. So there's our cover, all done. All right, my friends, we're going to begin work on this top portion of the inside. So I took a piece of my pale pink 11 by 8 3/8 inches, and I scored it at 8 3/8 inches to create this little flap. So on the inside, we're going to take a piece of our Authentique Dame and lay this down, the floral, because I think it's going to look really pretty. So right here. And then over here on the flap, this is almost 2 5/8 of the netting. And then on the flap, I've die cut this piece of the Graphic 45 border. And then I have 2 pieces. I didn't have a piece big enough for this, so I have 2 pieces of this beautiful text. And then I have another small piece with our pretty lady on it. And I'm going to just overlap. Actually, let me just tear right here. Now, if you don't have this Authentique collection in your stash, don't get upset. Just go on a search and find what collection you do have and use it. I promise you, you have something that's going to work well with this paper collection, because there's so many options. The main thing I look for, and I've talked about this before, but it bears repeating, the main thing I look for is that the hues match, and like the tones of the colors. It's not enough just to be pink. It has to be in the same pink family as the Graphic 45 collection. So that maybe will help you. And then just put the papers, you know, like put them next to each other. And if you like the way it looks, if it looks like a match to you, it's probably a match. I'm just trying to line these little pointy bits up here, which is not as easy as it sounds. All right, there we go. All right, see how pretty that is? Okay, so on our flap, I've taken a little scrap of my paper, and this was the part that I tore off, so the width of it was 2 5/8, and I just scored in some little flaps, and we're going to make a little pocket for our small tag. I think this is going to be real cute, and this is going to go right down here so that we don't cover up our pretty pink lady. And then I have this butterfly that's going to go right here. And then I'm going to top it with a small butterfly right here. Let's layer that up. And then if I look at my sticker sheet, let's take this sweet little tab that says friendship and put it down here on the pocket. And let's take this word that says confidence and put it up here, okay? Then open your folio and bring in your die cut file folder. And I've got this piece of border. And I'm just going to bend this around. I'm using the stripe in my paper to keep me straight. And let's put this down here. Now I want to make a little folio for the inside. And I've taken out my magnets. And I've got this horizontal image from Authentique. I'm going to put my magnet down in the center. And I always like to use just a tiny bit of score tape to reinforce that adhesive. And I'll show you how I make these quick and easy. I don't measure. I just put this down. This is an 8.5 by 11 piece of our darker pink paper. And I'm just pressing that into place. And then I'm going to bring in my cutter. And I'm just going to line this up. I bring in my scoring tool and I just line this up. Fold this over. Now I can come in and trim this overhang off, and there's a very quick and easy little folio. So the other magnet, goes on the inside. And then I'm just going to cut, this is 3 by 4, so I'm going to cut little 3 by 4 liners to go inside this. So you can see I've put her right here, and we've got this nice little magnetic closure. And then in the pocket, I trimmed down my 4 by 6 postcard to be 5.5, and I added this little sticker to the top. If you have an embossing buddy, you know, that you use on paper so that the embossing powder only sticks where the Versamark is, you can tap the back of that sticker and it completely takes the sticky off. So then you can use that as a pull tab. And then I'm going to take this little piece from Authentique. This is beautiful inside and out. And what I'm doing is I'm pulling the golds together. That's why I'm doing all of this. And then I'm going to take this large postage stamp and put it right here. Just like that. And then also from Authentique, I've got these little banner bits, and we're just going to lay these out just for fun. Let's take this little sticker and put it right here as an extra little journaling spot. Okay. All right, to finish this off, I just put a sticker over here and another sticker here, and then I created a little journaling spot with this. This is just a skinny scrap I found. It's actually 2 inches by about 5 5/8. So that finishes our top part. I'm not going to glue this in yet because it's just so much easier to work with the folio if we glue these in at the end. So there's that. Let's move to the next. Next, we're going to do our right hand flap and folio page. So you're going to cut a piece of your pale pink cardstock to 7.5 by just barely over 8 inches. I mean, it's just barely. It's not even 8 1/8. I went like one little tick over the 8 mark, because then you get really nice. See how pretty the borders are. And it's good to break up all this green. The green is really nice as a background accent, but it's a little overwhelming for the main color. So we're gonna work with this off the page. So for your left-hand side, you're going to cut your paper to 4.5 by, I think I went just barely over 7 3/4. All right, and then I took this piece of our gold netting, and this is 8 5/8, and I've got the branding strip on it, so it's almost 4 3/8, and I've scored 1/2 inch on the left and 1/2 inch top and bottom to form a pocket. And we're just going to trim out our corners. And then fold our flaps and glue this down as our side pocket. And the reason we do this here is that we don't have to mess with getting around a magnet. This just seemed to work better in the long run. So we're going to line this up with our pretty little tag and pocket combo that we've die cut with the Graphic 45 dies. And if you don't have those, you can just make a small pocket to go down here. I just like these because they're shaped and they're so pretty. And here's the insert for that. And you can dress that up with stickers or whatever. I also want to use this border piece from the 12 by 12 with the pretty butterfly. I'm just going to wrap this around to the back. Yeah, let's frame a postage stamp. That would be cute. So this is a large postage stamp from the 12 by 12. And here's the little die cut frame. And that just kind of ties everything together. I like that. This is why I like to work with Dries Clear adhesive, is that you can do this sort of thing and you don't end up with schmutz all over your paper. It literally disappears when it dries, which is so cool. And then sometimes I just come in with a little paper towel to pick up any random bits. Make your life worth loving. Like this. That's cute. All right, and now we need to make the folio to go inside. I've cut an 8.5 by 6 inch panel of my green, and then from the off cut of that, I cut a 5 by 6 inch panel. So we're going to put 1/4 inch score tape along the bottom, just like we always do. And we're going to join these two pieces together. Now, if you have 12 by 12 cardstock, you don't have to do this. Just go ahead and cut a 6 by 12 inch panel and score it in half. But I tend to work almost exclusively with 8.5 by 11 cardstock. So I have to do this little extra step. Then come in, score it at 6, and fold. And then trim the excess off. Okay. Let's put this little folio together. So I've got a 5 7/8 by 5 7/8 inch piece of our pale pink cardstock. And I'm going to put that down. Then after that, you're going to put this pale script text down, which is the back side of the newsprint from Authentique. Then you're going to come in with a 3 by 5 3/4 of the botanical print from Patterns and Solids. And then I cut 2 border strips to 5 3/4 by 3/4. And this is of our patterned paper from Flower Market. So we're just bringing in a touch of that bold pattern. Then on the inside, I decided to go ahead and use the perfume bottles, and we're going to put this sort of tone on tone down here on the bottom. This is Authentique Dame. And then I've got this little embellishment that we're going to put right down here at the bottom, just to bring the outside inside. This is close enough to the Graphic 45 Flower Market paper that it could pass as coming from that kit, which is amazing. And then on the top, I'm going to put the perfume bottle paper, and that's a great place for a photo. All right. So I've matted our image from the 8 by 8 on pink and green. So that goes there. And then this is going to go into our pocket. Then I found this beautiful image to go in our little pocket on the front. I just love that there. That's gorgeous. So that finishes this page. So at this point, we're going to take a moment and we're going to place our magnets for these flat pages. And I've got a large one of these basic gray disc magnets, and I want to put it pretty much right in the center of my page. And then I'm going to secure it with my, all right, and then I want the opposite magnet. That was a plus, so this needs to be a minus. And then I'm going to make sure I'm perfectly straight and lined up here. And I'm going to fold my right hand flap over and make sure I'm lined up. And then press into place. And that's where that one will be placed. So we should be good on that. All right, now we're going to go to work on this left-hand flap page. This is the one that's behind the page we just built. So again, I'm going to move my folio out of the way because it's a little bit easier to work if you're not trying to get around that big base. And what I have here is a piece of our Authentique paper. It's 12 inches wide by 8 inches tall, and I've scored it at 4.5 to make this little flap page. And on the front of our flap page, I took a scrap of our paisley. This is just a scrap that was on my desk. It had the branding strip on it. And this is actually 4.5 by 3. So I scored 1/2 inch flaps and then cut our corners to make our pocket. And this is going to go down at the bottom here. And then in the pocket, we're going to put our little journal card. And then Up above it, over here on the left, we're going to put Spread Your Wings and Fly. And I'm going to take this little banner piece, and I just tore it in half. I'm going to overlap them like this. Oops. Keep it straight if possible. And I'm going to put these back behind our image just to give it a little more presence on the page. I didn't feel like matting this because I want to keep this, we want that magnet to work properly. So this, I'm just going to do like that. All right. And then for our turn tab, I've got these two little pieces, and I know they're blue and they don't go with what we're doing, but watch what does work. If we tuck it behind, the flap this way, and then I happen to have another one, and we put this over the flap this way. And then if we go to our sticker sheet, we've got this adorable little bird that can go right in the center, and we've just created a turn tab. And see, a bird, fly, bird, butterfly, it's kind of a theme, so it all works. Down here on the pocket, I want to bring in just a touch of our graphic 45 paper, so I'm using this heart, and I'm using this word dream. And we're just going to stagger these hearts on the pocket. And I've got this little butterfly piece that we're going to put right here. This little border piece. Let's take this little sticker to fill in the gap. And there we go. So that's that. Now open this up. All right, the first thing I want to do on this inside spread is I've got these two little banner flags, and I'm going to stagger them. And glue them down over here in this corner. Oops. Straight is always good. And then I want to take this little word that says chic and put it in the corner, okay? Then over here on this side, I added another little sticker to the center of our quatrefoil. And now I have another piece of scrap paper. This is the gold netting. And this is just a scrap with a branding strip on the side. This is about 4 1/4, almost exactly 4 1/4 by 3 3/8. So I scored 1/2 inch on the side and 1/2 inch on the bottom. I'm going to trim that corner out. But I want the width to be right, so I had to make one little gusset to fit over here on the other side. And a gusset is just a folded piece of paper. I typically do them about a 1 inch width. Fold them in half to 1/2 inch. And then this is going to fit right over here. Go ahead and glue this down right here, the bottom of your page. Center it up between your fold. Then I've got this piece of the pretty designer paper. I'm just going to mark this with my thumb. trim it. Put this at the top. So we have this pretty, it just kind of helps that pocket have a little bit more presence on the page. Then in the pocket, we're going to put our other 3x4 card. And along the top, I've got a 3x4 card from the Authentique collection that just coordinates really nicely with everything. And that's all we're going to do there. All right. So over here, we're going to build a pocket with our August calendar. And again, I'm just going to do some gussets. And I'll show you this time how I do them, just in case you're new to the channel. I'm doing this piece the width. Then I'm going to cut it in to 1 inch. Fold it in half. And place adhesive. Put it down along the bottom so that it's even with the edge, but not coming over the edge. The whole idea is you want this to be kind of invisible. Then I'm going to take this piece, I'm going to fold it in half this way, and cut. And I'm going to fold it in half this way. And this is just going to make our little gussets. And it doesn't matter that they don't meet. The whole idea is you just don't want it to be, you want to keep things from falling out of your pocket, right? That's the whole point. Let me see, I need to trim this just a little bit. So this is going to go, I want to find the center of the page, right here at the center. Okay. And then in our pocket, let's put a couple of these cute journaling cards. So I found this strip of my patterned paper that was 12 inches wide, and it still had the branding strip on the top, and I trimmed it into two 6-inch by 4 3/4 inch pieces. I scored along the branding strip, and we're just going to do like a little mini waterfall here. That could be kind of fun. And we have room for it. I'm going right along the top with our pink parrot. And let's do this one. Normally I come underneath this line, but this time I'm going to go just like this without going over the fold. All right. In this pocket, we can put our little, I'll mat this on some pink cardstock to give it a little more heft. And then it can go inside here, and it will keep those flaps from flapping around. So that finishes that page. that brings us now to the back of the left-hand flap. And this is where we're going to put our other tip in. So this is a 12-inch by 8-inch piece of our paisley that I've scored at 4.5 inches. Now, this has images there, which I want to cover up. So I've cut a piece of my flower market paper to go over this, and it looks really pretty together. I'm kind of excited about this. It looks very nice. And it is a little short because I'm working with scraps at this point. This is how it always gets at this point. It always gets really, you have to get really adventurous. But I've got a piece of this little border left, and I'm going to run my adhesive along the top, and I'm going to put my border piece down like this. And then I'm just going to trim it just like that. All right, so now that we've got this done, bring in your little ATC envelope, and I've cut a little piece of cardstock that's 3 3/4 inches high to fit in there. We have this pretty butterfly, and we can run a piece of our designer paper, our patterns and solids paper through it like this. Make a little banner flag to go there. And then we can glue this down at the top. And take the word peace and put it along the bottom. It's just a perfect fit. I'm trying to think how I want to do this. Last time I did like a belly band that held this in place. So maybe I'll just do that again. Just fold the little side pieces over. And then let's put a butterfly on our belly band. All right, I have this die cut circle. And here's what I'm going to do. You move this guy right quick. I'm going to put half of it under my belly band, kind of like this. And the other half I'm going to put right here. So see, now your envelope can slide in and out. And let's put this larger butterfly right here. That's pretty. I like that. That worked out really well. All right, I cut this little 3x3 piece of cardstock, which was 3x6, folded it in half, glued down our little file folder sticker, and then on the inside I did a 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 inch panel of our plaid paper, and then here's a little journaling spot. So this we can glue down right underneath, and it gives us a little journaling spot, which is kind of fun. So that finishes this part of this page. Just a couple of quick things on this little page. I did add a little paper clip up here because I feel like it just holds this little ATC envelope in better. And then on the side, I took this oval, folded it in half to make it into a turn tab, and then topped it with a couple of stickers. So those are just ideas that you can use. So let's flip this page, and we've got our little flap page over here. And I've got this postcard from the Authentique collection, Dame. And I want to go ahead and matte this because it just kind of disappears against the page. Sometimes matting really gives something a little bit more presence. So we're just going to matte this very quickly. And I know there's lots of ways to do this, but I kind of do it the lazy way. This is a good shortcut. I just put it on my paper where I want it to be. And then I bring in my cutter. And because I know where my cutter is going to cut, pretty much, I just line it up and cut. And I get a good mat without doing all that insane measuring. I just don't have time for that, so I do it this very quick way. Now, the other thing that matting does here is that I'm not going to glue this in. I'm going to slip it under our paper clip, and that gives room on the back of this to add a photo. So we're going to take this right over to the edge, because here's our fold right here. And then I'm going to take this beautiful postage stamp. I'm going to slip it under my paper clip and glue that down like that. Then I've got a little scrap. What did I do with it? I had already prepared it. Yeah. I want to cover up the lady this time. So I've got this scrap of our designer paper, and I'm trying to figure out where I want to put it. I've got this, I've got this pretty die cut from the paper collection. And I want to go right here. Well, we won't worry about that. That covers it up really well, actually. So I'm not going to have to worry about the thing that I thought I was going to have to do. And I did not put glue on this bottom part because that is going to mess up your ability to remove the postcard with your paper clip. So that's really pretty. I like that a lot. And we'll just leave that like it is. You can do a little tiny bit of journaling here. Let's come over to this page. And what I want to do here is I've got this 4x6 from the Authentique collection. And I'm just going to do a straight up, I call these U pockets, because you kind of glue down a U. I'm not going to worry with gussets or anything like that because we have, what we're putting in here is not that big. But I do want to center this up. And then what we want to do is make our bookmark. So I've got a 2 3/4 by 5-inch piece of our bright pink, and I've layered 2 5/8-inch strips of patterned paper on here and then stitched them up on my sewing machine. And this is going to go onto, and you don't have to stitch, you can use glue. I just like this, the way the stitching kind of gives it a finished edge, and that's why I do that. And then this is going to be centered on this piece of paper. then we've got our large imagination that we're going to glue down. Right here. And then I've got the poppy postage stamp. And this is from the 8x8. And this can go in this pocket. At the top, we can put this postage stamp. Very nice. And then we can actually, I've got another one of these little, I'm gonna add a journaling spot here too. So that's kind of fun. And that finishes out the inside left flap. Behind the right-hand flap page, we're going to keep things very, very simple because we've got a lot of thickness going on here. And if we put too much thickness here, our magnets won't work. So here's a photo area. And what I did was I just cut this a 1/2 inch deeper than the height, which I think is 6 inches. It was just a scrap. And then I took our patterned paper, cut it to fit, which is 7 1/4, and I went, I think, 7 3/8. And then I had to patch this little border piece in because I was a little bit short. So I just put my glue along the bottom edge, and now you've got a little tuck spot for one of your 3x4 cards. So you can do some journaling and a couple of nice photos here, and you should still be okay. In the center pocket, to line it, I have an 8 3/8 by just about 4 1/8 inch piece left over from cutting this pattern on the right. And I like to do this because this ties things together. This is how you tie together a bunch of different patterns and colors and things and create a feeling of you know, really cohesive design. So this is going to go, got a bit of a gap there. Let's bring this down here like this. Make sure I'm straight. And then across the top where I've got a gap, I'll find some border pieces to go in there. And on our pocket, I have this piece of the plaid that we've been using that works so well with this collection, and this is also cut to 7 3/8 by 3 3/4. I'm sorry, 8 3/8 by 3 3/4. And I'm going to opt not to use that really intense hot pink side, but if you want to, you can. What I want to show you now is how to add this expandable pocket, and I have cut 2 1 1/4 inch by just under 4 inch panels of my green cardstock, and I scored 1/4 inch lines. So now we have this little accordion looking thing. And try to bring this up so you can see. This is always the hardest part. We're going to put our adhesive on this outside edge. We're going to line this little expandable pocket bit up so that it's nice and straight. And you don't want it to go clear to the bottom, because if you do, it's going to be really hard to fold up the bottom of your folio. You want it to go all the way to the top, so you have clearance space at the bottom. And you'll see what I mean in just a minute. See, I've just got like 1/8 of an inch here. So I'm just going to show you again. You just accordion fold this along those scored lines. Place your adhesive. Okay, so now you put your adhesive here. You put your adhesive here. And then you just fold this up. And you want to make sure you're straight along the bottom. And you want to make sure you're not going over the sides. You're not going over the score line on the sides. But when this dries, I'm not going to pull on it right now because my adhesive hasn't dried. And you can use score tape for this if you want, because it does catch immediately. But you've got this beautiful expandable pocket that you can put receipts in. You can put, you know, photos in, whatever. So we're going to take this little scrap that I cut a banner flag on the bottom. And it's going to go right here along the top, like this. All right. And then we're going to take our die cut 8, because it's the 8th month, and put it right there. And then in our pocket, we're going to put some photo mats and some little mini folios. I found that I have this 4-inch by 8-inch piece left from the 8-inch pad, and I'm going to cut this into a 4 by 6-inch piece. We're going to mat this over here. It's going to be really pretty on the front of this little flipped page. I really love the way this turned out, y'all. This is really beautiful. So now all we have to do is install our pages. You'll take, I've got a few more of these little guys, and I'll just make little folios like I've been showing you that I've been making, and we'll tuck them in this pocket along with some photo mats. I'm going to go ahead and glue this one down right here on the pocket to kind of dress it up. It's a little bit naked looking. All right, so just cut like some 4 by 6 and 4 by 4s from your leftover cardstock and stick them in there. And then do a couple of little mini folios with this. And now we're going to go ahead and install our pages. So we're going to start over here with our left-hand flap page. And just glue everything in. There we go, my friends. The August Graphic 45 Flower Market Folio all done. I'm going to add some sequins to the front, or maybe even some rhinestone gems this time to go along with the rhinestone gem that's here. But we did it another month. Thank you so much for joining me, Kathy Clement, Kathy by Design. Please be sure to give this video a like. Even if you don't have time to comment, a like helps move it through the algorithm on YouTube. And if you haven't subscribed, I would love to have you join me. We have a lot of fun here. We make a lot of pretty stuff. All right, guys, I'm going to clean up this mess and then go get my craft on. Bye.